Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the AstroLOVE podcast. I am Astro Queen.
And I'm Angel Love.
And today is yet another episode. I think it's episode 8.
Okay.
We've made it to episode 8.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, take my word. Although, I don't know. But yeah, so it's kind of exciting that we're still here, still plowing through with our topics and astrology and, divination. But just a quick kind of heads up to those who are listening for the first time. This is a podcast about astrology and transpersonal psychology and just having discussions about what's going on in the heavens, how we can relate that back to the earth that we're living in and the experiences that we're having. And it offers lots of tips and tools about how to function and navigate. I don't know, in a life that we call, in a world that we call crazy at times. That can be described as crazy or just unpredictable and wild. And it's a platform also for healing and just sharing our experiences, our personal experiences and observations as well of what's going on in the world. Did that make any sense?
It did. It made plenty sense to me. As I'm listening, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yay! Okay, so Angel Love and I will be talking about a few things today. This is the cosmic news, so we're going to focus a lot about what's going on in the heavens, but also bring it back to what's going on within the the celebrity world, because sometimes it's quite good to relate it to human beings, people that we are familiar with, even if it is at the capacity of the celebrity world. So we're going to talk about, for example, Mercury retrograde and the impact it's had on some people in the world. Autumn equinox, touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And then some current transits. And then other important events for October.
Yes, that would be good. Yeah.
Okay, so shall we start off with Mercury retrogrades? It's over.
It's over. It's over. Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful for the Mercury retrograde, but now it's over. The shadow phase is over. We can breathe. We can start buying. We buy what we want. But although the Venus retrograde ends on the 10th. So we've got like another 9 days. But, yeah. Oh, it's the first of the month as well.
Oh, yeah.
So
Pinch
happy
punch.
first of the month. Yeah, pinch punch. What's it? Pinch punch.
First day of the month.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's the 1st of October. The weather is beautiful.
It is.
It makes all the difference. So, yeah.
That just cracked me up, though. The way we were both like, that it's over. Retrograde is over.
Yeah. So.
Because
when it's a retrograde, I always need to buy something electrical.
I know.
It's like,
it's so weird how that happens.
Yeah, and I usually find out that I need to buy something and it's a shadow phase, and I think, nah, I'm not going to risk it. I don't want to be having to send things back or so I just have to spend like a good month not having what I want. So now that it's over,
that's it.
I can now purchase.
You can proceed. Goods. Yeah. So it ended yesterday, isn't it? 30th. And it's now Mercury is completely direct in Virgo. I think, I just say for me, I have to be honest, it wasn't that bad.
No.
It wasn't that bad. Was it?
No. What happened? No, it wasn't that bad for me, but I honoured the retrograde.
Yeah, maybe we're just getting good at it.
Yeah.
We're getting good at observing and just
how to navigate that energy. So
and you were patient with not.
Well, that's the thing.
Buying.
I think exactly. You need to have patience and not buy if you can. I know it doesn't always work that way, but
but you were forced to kind of reflect and utilize your current situation to make whatever you needed work for you, right?
Exactly.
And that's the retrograde.
And if I had to buy something during the retrograde, probably try and buy it on a Wednesday. Yeah. And I would take out insurance.
Oh yeah, snap. That's a good tip. That's so true. Our next Mercury retrograde will be, I think it's in December, so it'll tap into the Sagittarius and Capricorn energy, but we'll talk about that another time.
That'll soon come.
Yeah, before we know it. But
exactly.
For me, it was actually okay, and I'm just trying to think, like, because it's in my third, it was going through my third house, and I did find myself going back and revisiting some places. I know it's a bit random, but the other day I was in Chinatown. I haven't been in Chinatown for years. I've been Chinatown for years, and I had some Korean food, and that was really cool. What else? Yeah, but like you, I think I've learned how to navigate it a lot better, and like when I needed to send important emails or share information, like I waited for a more auspicious time, or I just made sure the information,
double checking everything, double checking that you've done it correct.
Yeah. So I kind of enjoyed it. I did observe my partner have returning clients, like music clients, come back, and that was cool. And they came back. Interestingly, they one of them was new from the last retrograde. In February, they'd done a piece of music together, and then they kind of like, I don't know, when they separate ways, and then this client came back this retrograde. So it was quite an interesting observation. Anyway, so what have you got in terms of linking that with anybody?
Well,
what's the news?
So with my news is a little bit like weird.
Why?
But good. I'll tell you as we go along. So it just came to me, these stories randomly, and when I checked them, they all had a connection either to the retrograde, to Gemini or Virgo, which is really like, and these are just random stories from around the world. That came to me. So I'll just start off. The first one, I just kind of took the stories that came to me. So the first one is Chris Kaba. So he was shot by a police officer.
When?
On the 5th of September 2022. So it's back in the news because the police officer is being charged with manslaughter. I believe they went on strike.
Can you just remind me of that story? So what happened?
He was in his car. He's being followed. They didn't acknowledge that the police officers. He's being followed. I think he was in someone else's car. But they shot at him. He was unarmed.
This is the US.
Yeah, and then no, in England. It's England.
They shot at him.
And I think they shot him in the head. So he died.
Okay.
So it's still under investigation, but it just come out that the police officer's been charged with manslaughter. So the armed police officers, the ones that have the gun, believe they went on strike. And they said like the army has to come in, but I'm not sure. But the story, like too deep. Haven't gone into story too great deep. But Chris Kaba, he was killed. It was the retrograde in the shadow phase on the 9th. So the retrograde started on the 9th of September. So obviously when he was shot, it was the 5th.
Yeah.
So it
was
pre-shadow.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he's in the pre-shadow phase. He was born on the 23rd of July 1999, and Mercury was in retrograde in Leo.
Okay.
So and the retrograde was from the July the 12th to August the 6th. That retrograde. So that was the first story.
So it's come back around and they reinvestigate. It's almost like digging.
The retrograde has a theme for him. It's the it's just around. I've kind of noticed that it brings something back to people. Something. So then the second person was Tupac.
Yeah, I've been hearing stuff.
Yeah, so his alleged murderer, Keith D, has been charged after 27 years. So Tupac is Gemini. He was shot and died during a Mercury retrograde in Virgo. He's born on the 16th of June, so he's a Gemini, born on a Wednesday. He has Virgo ascendant with Pluto in the first house, and Venus, Sun, Mercury, MC, and part of Fortune is in Gemini. So that was his kind of connection with Mercury and the retrograde, and this news coming out now during the retrograde as well.
And it's interesting because over the years since his death, we've never really stopped talking about his death.
No, he's literally documentaries,
everything. It's constant.
It's been a big mystery. Yeah. But I think people knew. Yeah. Maybe they just couldn't prove it. Yeah. Someone must have known. They're just not saying. Yeah. So that was, I I think that's just, it's been 27 years.
And his death keeps coming back. Interesting.
Keeps coming up. Him and Biggie. So he died on 13th of September during the Mercury retrograde. So he shot on the 7th of September, but died on the 13th of.
So he died a good few days later.
Yeah, during the Mercury retrograde, and a day after the new moon. So the new moon was on the 12th, and he died on the 13th.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Another story quickly. Miss Zimbabwe controversy. So Zimbabwe is ruled by Mercury, Virgo Sun, and so what happened was they crowned. So they haven't been doing Miss Zimbabwe for 22 years. They've just come back, and the woman who was crowned doesn't look like a Zimbabwean.
No.
So she's got blonde hair. She's a white lady. So they've made a big uproar. How could she? But apparently she was like the best speaker. That had the best walk.
Eloquent.
Yeah, but the people think, well, she doesn't represent us.
No.
So I guess.
Oh, this is tough.
The retrograde going back like over people thinking about. How does this work?
Yeah.
Like, so she's going to be entered into Miss Universe?
Yeah.
Miss World, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So she will be entering that. But that was the whole...
As Miss Zimbabwe?
Yeah. So she'll be representing Zimbabwe in the Miss World competition. So they're like...
But she doesn't, though. I mean, this is probably my opinion, but she doesn't represent.
No,
she represents the Western world.
Yeah.
If we talk about Zimbabwe, I instantly think of, obviously, beautiful black women.
Yeah.
Curvy, not that Caucasians aren't, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like, there's a picture in my mind that's just gonna baffle the whole world. But maybe this is where we're heading anyways.
Exactly. And we have to
no
think,
boundaries.
Yeah, someone, who's melanated, maybe born and bred in Ireland, and she wants to represent Ireland, and Irish people are like, well, this is, Irish people look like this.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of remix, isn't it?
This is
interesting. It's very interesting. It's quite like, how, and for the people I can understand because they want to be represented around the world.
Yeah.
They want their people to be represented. So I totally understand. I can understand both point of views as well. Like,
yeah, same. Because if she's born and bred in Zimbabwe, it's her choice whether she wants to enter this. Like, otherwise, what can she do if she wants to be a pageant girl or whatever? Like, that's her avenue. She's got no other pathway.
Yeah. So I mean,
oh no,
she entered, and obviously the people that run the competition thought as well, and they chose that she was the best out of all the women that were there. So that's that.
There's a certain standard they've got to meet, isn't it?
Yeah. So apparently she probably, maybe she had the most effort. Yeah. And knew, what she was doing.
I want to see what she looks like.
Yeah, you get a picture. Her name's something Brooke. Something
Brooke. Okay.
Yeah, I did have her name, but I guess I didn't write it down. Another story, quickly. Rupert Murdock, Pisces. He owns Fox Corp and News Corp. And he was big in the UK because he owned the News of the World and the Sun. And back in the day, they used to run riot. I mean, these tabloid papers are just a nuisance and really serious in terms of when they're reporting their stories. They still are, but when Rupert Murdock, in his heyday, I think the 90s, they were just savage.
Yeah.
They were savage. So he announced his retirement. And his son, Lachlan, who's born in Virgo, he is now born on a Wednesday. He's born 8th of September, so he's a Virgo, and he is going to rule. He's now taken over.
Okay.
So that was that with him.
Interesting.
Yeah. There was a baby girl born with 14 fingers and 12 toes in India, and so altogether she had 26 fingers. She's born on the 16th of September during the retrograde.
And Mercury rules like the extremities, right?
Yeah.
Arms. Does he rule legs, feet? I feel like that's more.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, so like I know if you got extra digit.
Yeah.
Like, so if you got 6 on your hands,
you've come fingers.
You've come into this world to teach. Like, there's an urgency to teach something.
Oh.
So if there's double, because this is your baby finger is the Mercury finger, right?
Yeah.
So if there's double, maybe it's a double urgency or something. But they've actually hailed her as an incarnation of their local Hindu goddess.
Oh, but that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So they're seeing her as a positive energy.
Yes, but the country that she's in is in India. It's Gemini ascendant, Mercury and Venus in Leo. So
Mercury and Venus in Leo, so she's gonna be known.
No, India. India.
Oh, India.
Yeah, it's Gemini ascendant, the actual country.
Oh, it's Gemini.
Ascendant.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Putting that connection because all these stories just came out to me. I'm like, why are these stories coming to me? This is crazy. A woman was sentenced to 2 years in prison for eating pork in Indonesia. So Leo, Sun, but Virgo ascendant and Virgo in Mercury. Because I just looked at all these stories. I'm like, why are these stories coming to me for?
Yeah.
So she was jailed for 2 years for eating pork, and I think she said some Arabic words before she ate it. And
she disrespected Islam.
I think she was blessing it. I don't know, but it was looked at as a disrespect.
Yeah, that's supposed to be haram. They call it haram.
Yeah.
Like alcohol, you're not supposed to bless.
Yeah.
And pork, you're not supposed to bless.
Well, she did.
So she disrespected the nation.
She got 2 years for that.
That's deep, though.
That's deep. 2 years for just eating a piece of meat. So another story came to me. So the Nigerian Afrobeats singer Mohbad, he was born on the 8th of June 1996. He's a Gemini. He passed away under unusual circumstances. They think that his ex manager did it. Because in 2022 he left the management company. Yeah. And apparently the fans believe that this ex-manager did it. The manager saying he had mental health problems. I don't know.
Okay.
But so he was buried. He died on the 12th. He was buried on the 13th
of September. His wife and his son was not present. And what?
Then
they weren't at the funeral?
No. And so the body was exhumed because everyone said it's like under strange circumstances, and they're doing an autopsy.
So they dug up the body again.
They dug up the body. I mean, that's quick though.
Wow.
Died on the 12th and buried on the 13th. You don't go and
that's that suspect.
You don't get examined. He's 27. No illnesses.
Yeah, if it's under they don't know why he died. Yeah. Obviously they're gonna want to explore that.
That's
right?
what you think, right?
Oh, so the fans.
Yeah, I think there was so much uproar that they. I don't know what the wife was saying or the other family was saying. He was born in the Mercury shadow phase in Taurus. So Mercury's in Taurus, is in the shadow phase. Yes. And then go on.
I was going to say that's how far Mercury retrogrades can go though, to the point where a body needs to be redug.
Well, they didn't do the proper paperwork. They didn't sign off everything.
That's insane.
People had questions and they couldn't answer it. So now the government or whoever decided dig the body up. But it's weird that the family didn't think what's going on. Or
maybe that's why the wife and the son didn't go, because they didn't feel like it was right. But then you'd want to be there either way, wouldn't you?
I don't know. It's a funny situation.
Yeah.
And when I was going over this work, so I wanted to check that all my stuff was correct. A story just popped up to me. I was actually Googling Mohad, and I don't know why this guy came up, but his name's Mohammed Silla, better known by his stage name as MHD. He's a French rapper from Paris who is known for blending trap music with like music of West African nature. And he was sentenced on the 10th of September for he's born on the 10th of September 1994. He was sentenced to 12 years for killing a 23-year-old victim called Loic K. So it's Loick.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was that with that story in terms of, I don't know why this story popped up to me.
Maybe because he's a
Virgo. Yeah, it could be.
But what's the retrograde energy for that? I'm trying to think.
The retrograde then was on the 5th of July, I believe it started. No. When was he killed? So he was killed. Yeah, I think he was killed on the 5th of July. But the retrograde started on July the 25th. So it's kind of like it's like 5 days. You put 14 days before the retrograde, right? it's a bit out, but it was coming. I don't know what to say. It was out of it, but that was the retrograde, July 25th, and he was killed on the 5th of July. But I don't know why this story just...
Maybe they're going to keep revisit it, or they will revisit the sentence or whatever.
Because he was sentenced. Maybe they might find out it's not...
Yeah.
I don't know.
How long did he get? 12 years?
12 years. And there were other people that were involved, and
they
got sentenced as well. But I just thought that was weird that story came out with that. And yeah, that was like my Mercury retrograde.
You went to work on this one.
I did. Well, I felt like some of these stories need to get mentioned.
No, it's true.
Or they wanted to be mentioned in this podcast, because they came to me and I thought, well, let me just say them and whatever.
Very interesting, because you can see the links with Mercury.
Exactly. There's all Mercury, and I didn't just go out and think, oh my god, I'm going to say this story, because I just said, oh, this story looks good. And when I checked on them, they were Mercury related.
And you're ruled by Mercury.
Yeah. So they just came out to
Virgo.
me. They just came out to me. So I thought, whoa.
Well, very interesting. Also, Russel Brand's been all over the place, hasn't he?
Oh my gosh.
And he's a Gemini.
This story has me like, what's going on?
I know. I've always liked him, I've always really respected the way he articulates himself, and he's got so much information, and he's quite controversial in the way he approaches things, but people love him. Plus, he's a comedian, he's an actor, multi kind of talented guy. Yeah. Was married to what's her name? Katy Perry. Katy Perry, and I don't know. We've known him for years, and he's British. But what I did check his birth chart, and if the time is right, astrologers seem to be using this chart. He's got he's a Gemini, and he's got Virgo rising. Okay. So Mercury's all going through that first house. Yeah. So that's reassessing the way that we view him. Obviously, it's reassessing his persona, how he presents himself to the world. Like we are reevaluating our view of of him as a celebrity, as an entity.
It's Mercury retrograde, and he's Virgo is his ascendant, as you said. So that's the face that we see him, and the retrograde is changing that face that we think of him.
Exactly.
It's going back over it and saying, no, what you see is not actually, that's not true. Yeah. So we have to, I guess he's being re-examined now, isn't he?
He's being re-examined. His Mercury retrograde is also squaring his 10th house, which the 10th house being the house of career and public standing and whatnot. And he's got the sun there, he's got Mercury there as well. So all of that is being re-evaluated. Yeah. But he's having some major transits though. He's got Pluto, the planet of transformation and destruction. It's opposing his Venus, so there he's having Venus we know is the female entity, female archetype, and he's now having to resolve underlying conflict that maybe he had back then. It's come back to bite him in the arse in some way, shape or form. We don't know. Obviously he knows, but he's having to work on conflict and relationships, whether that's at home or his personal life. But Pluto ain't no joke.
Listen,
Pluto ain't no joke,
and he's like, he's kind of scary, because he allows you to do your thing. He allows you to do everything,
Yeah, he does.
And then one day you think, you've probably forgotten. I mean, not saying you've forgotten what you did, but you're just going along your business, and it just pops up, and you're like, what's going on?
It comes back in some way, shape, or form. Because
it's gonna transform you.
It's gonna
Pluto likes to transform. It's gonna use whatever you've done to kind of help transform you.
Yeah, exactly. So people are in his life right now creating challenges, and he's probably feeling very isolated or like rejected, because Pluto will have that on you. Pluto makes you feel like you need to kind of remove yourself, and people may shun you. As a result, you might feel isolated in some way or rejected. But interestingly, because Pluto also is opposing Venus also rules money, Pluto rules transformation, his YouTube have demonetized his channel. So obviously that's going to affect his money. So he's having to reorientate how he makes his money. So I read today that he's now on Rumble, and he's seeking his fans to basically pay for his subscription. I think it's £49 a year, so he can obviously meet his financial goals and still remain, you know, above water. But I thought that was really interesting with the Pluto opposing his Venus. But anyways, he's having that major transit, and Pluto, you know, when Pluto hits any major planet in your chart, like the sun or the moon or Venus or whatever, Mercury, it's all about breaking down and experiencing destruction in some way, but that, like you said, paving the way for like rebuilding and rebirthing. But it's not easy, and I speak so passionately because Pluto has been on my ascendant for what feels like years now. So I feel like I could talk about Pluto in a way that is quite confident, because I've been there, man. He breaks you down. It's very deeply psychological. It can feel very damaging, but when you're on the other side of it, it's almost like, oh, I can understand. But I think with him, it's a hard one. To be accused of rape and, you know, abuse and all of this stuff, like,
that's very true. It's gonna be very hard.
That's a tough one.
It's gonna be very hard. And with rape, I guess it's more about power. Now this is, maybe he felt powerful. Yeah. Now he's feeling powerless.
And you say this because all of this happened during this peak of his career. So he must have felt all of this power and all of this success and control or whatever. And now, but anyways,
but apparently it's been known that he's been doing this. You know how the media works, how that industry, they know everything.
It's been known.
It's been known.
But now, because he is probably like, because he's quite controversial, so he shies away from the bog standard way of, I don't know, say for example with the COVID stuff, that was his topic, like don't get the COVID vaccine. But that goes against what the BBC, for example, are promoting. Get the vaccine.
Right, so they had stuff on him from time. He's saying the wrong things and they're unleashing it. It's like all the MPs, they probably got stuff on certain people. They say, no, you vote this way. And they're like, no, I'm going to do this. And they show him sign a picture that they're with someone that they shouldn't be. And then they vote it. They have to vote. You know, that's how it works in that kind of media, kind of politics industry. And he's messing with a lot of people's money here
so true.
And in the, you know, abroad as well, in America.
Yeah.
Because, you know, where the vaccine, different things are coming in from different places. So, you know, they're trying to make one story to get the vaccine. And he's a popular public figure. Yeah. And now they're saying, okay, you want to say this? Let's get you. And they waited for their time.
We're getting you out. It's true. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. And he's also got a opposite Mars going on too. So oppositions are really challenging aspects, by the way. So if you find yourself having a Pluto, a planet like Mars or Pluto opposing one of your more sensitive planets or personal planets like Moon or Sun, it can be challenging. But in this case, he's definitely, you know, experiencing some anger and frustration coming from all sorts of directions. So we need to watch where this story is going.
Definitely. You said he's Pluto
opposing
his Mars.
Venus, and he's also having a Mars opposition. So Mars opposing his Mars.
Okay, Mars opposing his Mars. Okay,
yeah,
so
Mars
say
opposing his Mars.
Pluto Mars is often an indication of rape.
Yeah, facts, factual. So, are we done with the Mercury stuff?
We've done with the Mercury stuff.
We can now rest easy on that and move forwards. Mercury retrograde, you've been wonderful.
Thank you.
But until next time.
It is, exactly.
Okay, so now we move on to the autumn equinox. I just want to say, first of all, obviously, happy birthday, Libras. But shout out to Kieran. His birthday.
Kiki.
Yeah, Kiki. His birthday's on the 16th. This is my son. His birthday's on the 16th of October. He's going to be 16 on the 16th. Wow. So that's going to be awesome. But shout out to all Libras out there. Happy birthday,
Kieran. And happy birthday to all Libras as well.
Yay.
And Israel's a Libra, right? So we have to give a shout out to our teacher, Israel. So happy birthday.